Good morning, everybody. Welcome back. So I'm Scott Selections here for Friday, October 8th. For today's play of the day, quick recap weapon. Yes, we had a nice winner with Coastal Carolina team total over 45.5 points at minus 105 on Fox Bet. Game went the way that I thought it would. Coastal at 24 points in the first half. Arkansas State couldn't get a stop to save its life, and Coastal ended up scoring 50 as it scored 52 points. So a nice winner. Look for another winner here on Friday. And for the play of the day, sticking with college football, we're going to look at a conference game between two CUSA teams taking place at around 7 p.m. Eastern Time, and a matchup between Charlotte and Florida International. And for the play of the day, we like Charlotte team total over 31.5 points at minus 110 on FanDuel. Time recording of 1:06 a.m. Eastern Time. Coverings why I like the over in the spot. First of all, 31.5 is a very solid number for the team total because if you shop around, you can find mostly 32. I did see that DraftKings had 32.5. So if you can find a 31.5 right now or whenever you actually watch this video, I'd recommend taking it sooner rather than later because I do think you will see a little bit more movement before opening kickoff. But looking at the actual stats here, Florida International is an atrocious defense. This team is giving up 35.2 points per game. And on top of that, it has allowed at least 54 points in 2 of its last 3 games. Gave up 54 points to Texas Tech. Not exactly the same fantastic offense that Texas Tech usually has. Still a decent unit, but it gave up 58 points to Florida Atlantic, and that team has an average at best offense, which just tells you how bad the current form is of the Panthers defense. But FIU, to go through even more awful defensive numbers, this team is allowing 502.8 yards per game, including 314.4 passing yards per game. And that is an extremely important factor because Charlotte has a really good quarterback. Chris Reynolds, very good. He has 11 passing touchdowns and 3 rushing touchdowns. Dual threat guy, been around for a long time. He's very capable of torching underwhelming defenses, as we saw even in the season opener against Duke when they pulled off the upset there. We saw that in the only conference game of the season, as Charlotte, up to this point, as Charlotte ended up beating Middle Tennessee State 42-39. But Reynolds definitely has a couple of weapons on the outside at wide receiver that should torch the secondary for FIU. And I do think Reynolds will probably finish with 300-something passing yards, probably 3 to 4 passing touchdowns, a couple of rushing touchdowns thrown in there too. But I mentioned it before, both teams have played one conference game up to this point. Charlotte scored 42 points against Middle Tennessee State. Now, Middle Tennessee State does not have a good defense, but neither does FIU. And Middle Tennessee State also just beat Marshall last week, so that is a decent football team. Meanwhile, FIU in the one game gave up 58 points to Florida Atlantic. I know N'Kosi Perry from Miami was an okay quarterback, but 58 points. I mean, they got absolutely torched. They couldn't stop anything in the pass game or the run game. I think you'll see a similar script here. Now, FIU might play a little bit better at first at home, but the weather should be fine in Florida, and I do think Charlotte has a lot of weapons and that this total is way too low. I think Charlotte could potentially win the game as their favorite. I think they might cover, but I do think Charlotte should score at least 34 points, maybe finishing with 35 or 38, but 31.5 is way too low against this awful FIU defense. The play that once again here for Friday, October 8th, is going to be on Charlotte team total over 31.5 at minus 110 on FanDuel. Bye, everyone.